Hello and welcome to another Game Developers Vlog, in which I have the pleasure to announce that this game, Copenhagen Crisis, is now complete. It's done. And if you want to play it, you can go to the link in the description which says download page, click the button called Game Download, and select the file called Copenhagen Crisis. That is a compressed file which you'll have to extract to somewhere on your computer. Once you've done that, you can either read the README file to learn how to play and use the level editor, which comes with the game, or just jump straight into the game by pressing the executable file called Motorium Rodens, which is Latin for rodent engine, referencing the game engine. The rest of this video is going to be me talking about precisely what this is, why I made it, um, its contents, and finally, a short introduction to the new project I just started, which is of course also game related. So what this is a game, but it is more significantly an exercise for me in programming and game development. As I want to become a professional game developer, I'm teaching myself programming and game designing, making skills by making games. And for every project, I make something that I think is going to be fun, but I do so based on things I want to learn next. So I pick what I want to learn, and then I shape a project around that. I create a game project around that. This time around, it was first of all a real-time game, one that runs in real time, so action. Well, all other games I've made have been turn-based, so I made a little strategy game, sort of a board game on a computer, and I made a roguelike RPG. Now I wanted to make a real-time game, and I also, as always, wanted to improve my programming practices, how to interact better with the Windows API, and the last thing I set out to learn with this was to make a level editor. I thought that would be a useful experience, teaching experience, and it was. Apart from that, I face a lot of various challenges with regards to the real time aspect of this. Graphics, not least, making it flow well. Um, AI for the cars, for the neutral rats, and for the frenzied rats, which will be you will understand what I'm talking about once you play the game or read the README file. Um, how to structure things such as code for solid objects, like these rats that are trying to walk through the building there. They can't. How do you do that? How do you detect damage, both from the enemies and from yourself in real time? Lots of things like that. I didn't have to create a better menu system, but I certainly wanted to, because in my RPG, for example, I think every single menu was written on the fly and hence actually functioned differently from all the other ones. That was a mess. Now I have a generalized system for creating and handling menus, which is really a relief uh, compared to previous projects. So I've learned a lot with this. It's been very successful as a teaching project, and as a sort of side effect, it actually became a quite fun game. At least I think so. So it did swell a little bit towards the end. Actually, initially it was going to be a very simple one-screen affair on, along the lines of Space Invaders, really. Because Space Invaders is a real-time game. I thought, I make something like that just to learn how to make real-time projects. But as always, you get excited, or I do, and I started adding features almost immediately. Project started swelling. I have learned from previous projects. That's one thing I've learned that is more uh, esoteric, you might say, or not such a tangible thing. Uh, the skill of cutting down, limiting your project, and that was very useful because I went, oh, this project is becoming too large. I have to limit. I have to say no, stop. no more features, also starting to cut away features. And I did that. So development took, I think, about 3 months, 3 to 4, I think. Not much longer than I thought. It did swell a little bit towards the end because that was because the game was becoming so much more fun than I thought it would be. And I felt that, ooh, it sort of deserves these features as well. So I couldn't keep myself from adding more. But that was a conscious decision on my part. Well, it's going to take a bit longer to make like right now, but these features are good enough that I want to add them. I think it only added about 2 weeks to the development time, so it didn't go far over time. Right, that's the reason I made it and what I learned and what the process was. Very quickly described. The contents is, of course, as you can see, an action game, a top-down 2D action game. I call it a run and gun, which was a genre of games that was quite popular in the 90s. Also before that, I don't know exactly when the term was coined. I think it was coined maybe in the 90s, um, possibly the 80s. I haven't heard it much lately, although these sorts of games are still made. And this is one. Um, I think it's very reminiscent of the first two Grand Theft Auto games, which were also 2D top-down games, um, but otherwise very similar to the current ones. It's an open world. You run around in a city, contemporary city. You shoot things and you ride cars. You can't control the cars, but you can ride on top of them. And other people too have commented that it's similar to the early GTA games. Um, the purpose is to collect ingredients for a cure to the disease that make many of your fellow rats so violent. That's what your enemies are. They are frenzied rats that are infected with this horrible disease. Just before they die from it, they become they develop a terrible bloodlust. You have to collect these ingredients because you're one of the few people who are, or rats rather, who are immune to the disease. Um, and once you do, you win. But it's quite difficult and challenging. The game has 3 difficulty levels. I've just now cleared it on normal today. Easy is quite easy. Normal took quite a while for me to start being able to clear. Today, I think my win ratio has been 2 out of 5 or 1 out of 3, something like that. And it's the first time ever. I tried for hours on a previous day, but couldn't really finish it on normal. I haven't even tried on hard yet. I will. I hope it's possible to clear it on hard. Maybe you have to develop different strategies. Anyway, um, the game is quite heavy on RNG, random number generation. Um, NPCs and cars spawn randomly and they travel randomly. NPCs always spawn as neutral, i.e., not antagonistic, but they spawn with a timer, which can be 0 seconds. So basically, they immediately turn into enemies, or they will within about a minute and a half. Once they do, they run around for about a minute before not even that, maybe it's just 30 seconds before they die. So they won't be running after you forever, but long enough, as you can clearly tell, long enough to get at you and be very mean to you. um, so every time you run the game, it's going to be different, and this does affect difficulty. So the difficulty isn't even every time you play. Um, but as this is a practice project, I didn't worry too much about things being even. There are many rough edges to this program, very many, but it's still fun. And I mean, easy is definitely easier than normal. Normal is always a challenge. I think hard is always going to be a challenge too. I think I managed to guarantee that there's a sort of minimum difficulty level for easy, normal, and hard that make them different. Um, as you pick up ingredients, for every ingredient you pick up, the game becomes harder. More enemies spawn and they do more damage. I think maybe on easy they don't actually do more damage; they just increase in number. Um, but the numbers increase more on normal and hard, and the damage numbers also increase more on normal and hard. It is really very tricky on those levels. Because I thought this is just one level, so I thought if there's going to be anything except for the difficulty, another challenge will be to do it quickly. So the game will record your time if you clear it, if you win. It'll record your time. It won't record your name or anything like that, but your time will be recorded and shown on a high score list or best times list, one for each difficulty level. So you can sort of, at least on your computer, see which is the best time. Something to aim for, which I think is fun. And then, as I said, I've added or included the level editor, both because I'm proud of it and because I think it's fun to play with, and people who've seen me working on it when on live streams say they want to play with the level editor too. So the game comes with just one level to play, but it also comes with a level to edit. And you can choose which of the two to play. You can flip between the two in the menu. So one is called the default level and one is called the editor level. The editor level is nearly a carbon copy of the default level to begin with, but you can change it to your heart's content. You can just wipe it clean and start from scratch if you want to, and create your very own game basically within this engine and the provided assets, graphics, and such. And that is all detailed in the README file how to do that. I'm pretty proud of it, so I hope if you find this interesting in any way, I hope you give it a try. I might do some more level editing in my live streams at some point, but of course I am now focused on my next project. And have I talked enough about this to go on to that? We talked about why I made the game, what I learned, what its features are, basically. Yeah, I think so. So my next project is 3D. Because I think I chiefly want to make games in 3D. I'm not sure that I won't ever make another 2D game, but I like the kind of, the space that you can create with 3D, of course, the size of the rooms, and that is Discord. Hope you can forgive me for leaving that sound on. I've started building my own 3D engine because I'm such a DIY kind of person. Uh, I'm trying to make my own always, but it's partially because of my ego, which is big, partially out of pride, um, but also very largely due to the fact that I want to learn more about about programming, how computers work, and just understand the principles behind how the tech behind games. Um, I'd say it's going well. I've just started, so it's far from done in any way, but you can trust that the next developer's vlog will almost certainly be about it, and I'll be showing it off then. Don't think it'll be too long before I have something to show. If you're interested in these things that I do, this game development, or the art that I make, fashion that I try to design, any of that, you'll find plenty of information in the other links that I'll provide below, which is the landing page of my webpage, my Instagram, uh, my Twitch account where I often stream and I do, I create things live. We do coding and game developing, level editing, painting. Sometimes I just play games for my own amusement, obviously, like just about everyone else on Twitch. Um, Having a good time. There's also my Instagram and YouTube and Twitch. Those are the places to go to get regular updates about my projects. Hope you enjoyed this. Um, Also, if you liked it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. That'll help a lot. With that said, I would like to wish you a good time of day and goodbye.